In the beginning there was only the ocean, and then Te Fiti's mother island appeared, and her heart was the spawn of life and Te Fiti shared it with the world. But over time, everyone began to try to take over her heart in order to take over the world. And once the most daring of them, a demigod of winds and seas who could transform into anything, went to the island to steal a heart. His name was Maui. He stole the heart, and Te Fiti began to crumble, giving rise to a darkness that eventually covered the entire world. Maui tried to escape, but Tika, a demon of earth and fire, began to oppose him. Maui was thrown from the sky and his magic hook and Te Fiti's heart were lost in the sea. And even now Tika and other demons are looking for Te Fiti's heart, and someday the darkness will take over all living things. However, one day someone will travel and find Maui to help him get his heart back. The little girl Moana listened to her grandmother's story with interest. Even the mere words that it will be possible to swim across the ocean made her happy. Moan's father and the Tue chief came in, and he began to say that everything was wonderful in Motunui and that no one would want to sail away from here. Other children who also listened to the story were frightened by the images of demons. While Tue tried to calm the children, Moana went to the water. There she saved a small turtle from a bird. Suddenly she came to the water and the water in front of her melted, showing the shells. The girl began to collect them. And then a wave rose and dripped on Moana, making her a beautiful hairstyle. At the same second, a small green stone appeared from the water. The father called Moana and the waves immediately stopped playing with the girl and returned her to the dry land. A green stone fell into the water. Moana told her father that she wanted to go to the water. However, Moana was always drawn to the ocean because that's how she felt freedom. The girl grew up. It was a holiday. She was walking next to her parents, but she saw her grandmother Tala, who was dancing near the ocean. Moana ran to her grandmother, starting to dance with her. Tala tried to do everything so that Moana understood who she was. Tue led Moana to the top of the mountain, where the stones were placed in a small column, as all previous chiefs had placed them. When Moana leads the tribe, she will also lay the stone. Father wanted Moana to become what they wanted to see. She tried to please everyone. She helped every person, supported, protected. Moana was going to become a leader and be great to her people. But women who collected coconuts came to her. The coconut crop was spoiled. Moana said to cut down the infected trees and plant new ones. The fishermen reported that the nets with fish were empty. Fish disappeared everywhere. Moana suggested fishing behind the reef, but her father forbade it, because it was a rule. Tue got angry. It was forbidden to cross the reef. Moana sat on a palm tree, throwing sticks into the sand. Her mother came up to her, saying that she looked a lot like her father. Tue, when he was younger, wanted the ocean just as much. His best friend swam with him, but a storm started and he did not have time to save him. Seal's mother said that sometimes people were not meant to do what they wanted. Moana is confused. Her life was divided between what she wanted and what others wanted. There were many obligations on her shoulders. The ocean was her dream, her element. But everyone loved the island, everyone had enough of what they had. Moana desperately tried to understand her place. Her destiny was to be a leader, but the water beckoned her like nothing else. She turned and ran to the ocean and got into the boat with the little pig Pua. The girl unfurled the sails and wanted to swim across the reef. Pua accidentally fell from the boat. She dived to save him, but due to a strong wave, her leg got stuck in the coral. Barely getting out of there, she sat on the shore, massaging her injured leg. Her grandmother Tala came. Moana is disappointed and said it's time to put her rock on the mountain. Grandma just indifferently agreed. Moana was surprised that Tala didn't stop her. Tala said she would turn into a stingray when she died, and if she didn't, then she didn't have the right tattoo. Tala led Moana to the cave and told her to enter it, hit the drum, and then she would know the truth. There were several dozen large and small boats in the cave. She saw one she liked best and unfurled the sails. A landscape and a huge boat opened up. It had a drum on it. Moana walked up to him and hit him. A knock was heard from the depths of the cave. Moana repeated it on the drum. At once the torches lit up on all the boats, revealing the designs on the sails. Moana was able to see into the past of her ancestors and realized that they were seafarers who had traveled all those years before. Moana came out of the cave and asked her grandmother why they stopped. Tala explained that the demons came into the waters because Maui stole Te Fiti's heart, and darkness spread to every island, including Motunui. The grandmother opened her pendant and gave a small green stone that was Te Fiti's heart. Tala said that Moana was chosen by the ocean. At the same second, a wave rose above and splashed water on the girl, as if blessing. Tue got angry and was going to burn the boats. But Tue's mother, that is, Moana's grandmother, became ill. She was dying. Moana immediately entered the hut, holding her grandmother's hand. Tala just begged her to go find Maui. Moana had to, because the ocean chose her. Maui was under the constellation of the Hook. Tala gave her pendant, in which Te Fiti's heart could be worn. Moana began to gather food. Her mother helped with this. They said goodbye and Moana chose the same boat in the cave that she liked the most. A glowing stingray accompanied her boat in the water. Moana thought it was her grandmother. She was able to swim across the reef. The girl kept saying how she would make Maui go with her. A knock was heard in the provisions department, which had been set up. It was the rooster HeiHei. He screamed, scared that he was in the ocean, and jumped out. Moana barely made it back to the provisions section. She swam both day and night. Somehow Moana took a little nap. A wave splashed over her, only for her to wake up to find that she had lost her course. Trying to change course to the constellation Gaku, the boat capsized. A storm began, a wave covered her. Moana was washed ashore, along with her boat. She angrily went to the shore and started shouting at the ocean. The girl looked around and saw drawings of a magic hook. Here was Maui. Moana heard someone walking and hid behind the boat. The boat lifted Maui. Moana tried to introduce herself, to say her purpose. With HeiHei's beak, he scribbled his autograph in the form of a hook and a heart, because Maui was everyone's hero. She only said that he was definitely not a hero for her. Maui replied that she must have wanted to say thank you. His body had many tattoos of moments from his life, and one of the tattoos was a mini copy of himself that showed the demigod's past. While retelling the story, Moana got carried away and Maui locked her in a cave. Maui did all this in order to take Moana's boat and swim. The girl still got out and reached the boat. Maui sailed very far and the ocean helped her by literally spitting her out onto Maui's boat. Maui pushed her off the boat twice, but the ocean kept bringing her back just the same. When Moana showed him Te Fiti's heart, he wanted to run away, but the water drove him back. Maui was afraid of Te Fiti's heart, because it would lead to trouble. Suddenly, a spear from a fish head crashed into her boat. They were the Kokomore pirates. Maui was telling Moana to pull up the halyard, but she didn't understand because she hadn't been taught how to steer a boat. The Kokomore boat split into two boats and tried to squeeze Moana and Maui's boat. Te Fiti's heart fell out of Maui's pendant and HeiHei ate it. Kokomores stole a rooster. Maui took an oar and climbed into the Kokomore's boat to take the heart back. She managed to do it, and they also destroyed the Kokomore's boat. Moana pressed on the fact that Maui is no longer a hero to anyone, but just a thief. They decided to find Maui's magic hook and return Te Fiti's heart. They should have sailed to Tamatoa's lair. Moana asked Maui to teach her how to sail. When Maui began to say that she would not be a sailor, the wave took a paralyzing dart and used it against Maui. They swam to the entrance to Lolotai, the monster's lair. They went upstairs together. A gate opened in the ground and Maui and Moana jumped inside to Tamatoa's lair. Moana was a decoy because there was a magic hook on the top of her shell. A giant crab climbed out, the shell of which was decorated with various jewels. To distract Tamatoa, Moana asked him to tell about himself. He agreed, and while he was singing, Maui took away the magical Maui. He wanted to turn into an eagle, but over 1,000 years he lost his ability. For Tamatoa, it was a chance to get revenge on the demigod for cutting off his leg. Moana used luminescent algae and mussels to make a parody of Te Fiti's heart. The girl and Maui escaped, stealing the hook with them. Maui accidentally half-turned into a shark. He had the head of a shark and the legs of a man. Maui lost faith in himself. Moana asked Maui about her father, how they came to be. There was one tattoo where a woman threw a baby into the water. Maui said that he was not born a demigod. His parents were the people who threw him into the sea. And the gods found him and gave him a hook. Maui did everything for people. He took out islands, gave fire, light. And he took Te Fiti's heart for them. Maui decided to try transforming with a grappling hook. Sometimes a beetle, then an iguana, a shark, an eagle, a whale. Maui taught Moana seamanship. They finally reached the Te Fiti Islands, where Tika was. She gave her heart to Te Fiti Maui for him to return. Tika, a lava demon, suddenly appeared. The battle began. Moana looked for a better place to dock, but Tika was strong. Maui used his grappling hook to drive them away from the islands from Tika with a wave. The hook cracked. Maui left her. Moana despaired and gave Te Fiti's heart to the ocean. Suddenly the spirit of her grandmother Tala appeared. The ocean also beckoned her. She found faith to win Te Fiti's heart back. She sailed to the Te Fiti Islands, which were defended by Tika. Tika could not be in the water, it is necessary to go around the coastal rocks. She went around the rocks, the boat capsized as Tika tried to hit Moana, then Maui returned. He was going to cover for Moana so that she would win Te Fiti's heart back. She reached the island. She had to put her heart in a spiral. Maui hit Tek with the full force of the grappling hook and it broke. Te Fiti disappeared. Moana noticed a spiral on Tek's chest. Suddenly, Moana lifted Te Fiti's heart up so that Tika would notice. Moana went down to the shore and asked the ocean to part so Tika could walk through. Tika cooled down and Moana was able to insert Te Fiti's heart. Te Fiti appeared instead of the lava demon. Everything turned green because Te Fiti's heart was in place. Te Fiti gave Maui a new magic hook and Moana a new boat. Te Fiti grew taller and lay down in her seat to sleep. But a tattoo with Moana appeared on Maui's chest. She returned home. There was no more darkness. Her tribe began to engage in seafaring. Instead of a stone on top of the mountain, Moana left a shell. Write in the comments if you liked the story about this cartoon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to watch even more interesting cartoons with me. See you soon.